Tokusatsu, taking the form of many shows including Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, and Metal Heroes. And today, a group of fans come together to review it for you as Toku Secrets.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Toku Secrets podcast presented by AnimeSecrets.org. I'm your host Nathan Desa, and today we are returning after taking a bit of a break for Thanksgiving. We're returning back to our little treasure hunt in the world of Gokaiger. Today we're going to be taking another deep look into the series by taking a look at episodes 39 through 48. And of course, as per usual, when I'm on my treasure hunts here, I have a crew to help me out with. So I'm going to let my crew members introduce themselves to you. So go ahead, guys.
So, he says we're his crew members, right? But in actuality, I'm the captain of this vessel. I'm Rizwan, captain of Anime Secrets. And I'm joined by...
Ahoy, mateys! It's the first division team lead of, I guess, stuff, Anime.
Stuff. Cool.
AKA the greatest man ever.
So, a couple of things to talk about in the news of Tokusatsu and the Ranot section. This is apparently just in. We've just received this news from Anthony just before we started this review. Injo Sanyute. I think that's how I'm looking at it right now. So he is a Japanese actor. He was the narrator for Kaku Ranger, because Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger, that was the for a while they had a narrator, at least up until like the halfway point, and he has tragically passed away. This is recent news. It happened on November 30th. Lived a pretty good life. I don't know what else he's done outside of Kaku Ranger, but it's pretty tragic. It's never fun to add another person to the list of deceased former Sentai actors. So, yeah, that definitely sucks, and we hope that he shall rest in peace. And we're going to dedicate this podcast in memory of him because a little bit of a spoiler alert for you guys. We're going to be talking about Kaku Ranger a little bit in this podcast. So just wanted to let you guys know about that. But the big piece of go ahead, Anthony. I'm sorry.
Apparently he's a no, you're good. Apparently he's a Rakugo storyteller. I'm guessing that must mean he must he's known for like telling stories and being like, I guess, like a storyteller. Hence why he was narrating Kaku Ranger, because that's literally just storytelling in a way. Yeah. So, but he's released more than 300 new works, such as the Glyco Boy and Sorrow for Saitama, and I guess it must be all the stories he must have told in his years. I hope he like Nathan said. I hope he rests in peace. It was nice to see him do his narration in Kaku Ranger. He kind of was the funny guy that was like just telling pretty much us what was going on in the story, and he was referenced.
It definitely sucks. We're not going to go over all the former Sentai actors that have died because, unlike Power Rangers, if you want to be technical about it, there's a lot of former actors that have died. A couple that I know. I do know that the person who played the original Key Ranger from Go Ranger is dead. He committed suicide, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure the Green Ranger from Die Ranger is dead as well.
That was also another suicide.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there's a bunch of people who were voice actors. So yeah, it's a pretty big list. Not as big. Power Rangers is thankfully not as big, but it's never fun when somebody dies, and yeah, definitely just sucks.
Yeah.
But on a little bit more of an interesting and less tragic note, the big piece of Tokusatsu news. So this came out while we were taking our little break. And this is news as of the recording of this video on December 5th, 2021. So a couple of videos ago, we spoke about how Power Rangers is moving on from Nickelodeon. Like they are going to cease airing on Nickelodeon entirely, and it's going to be a Netflix exclusive series. Well, Hasbro has apparently decided that they're going to uh, take that to a completely new level and kind of have the Netflix Power Rangers be like its own universe. Um, and I'm not, maybe you guys can help me with some of the details. I just know that there's going to be like they're trying to create their new Power Rangers universe, which I got some thoughts on it, but I don't want to start talking about it without all the details. So if I'm missing anything, you guys can kind of chime in a little bit.
Nah, you
Yeah,
pretty
you're
much
good
got
on
it
that.
down pat.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing like I said before was that like I think they might adapt another like one more season of Power Rangers from Sentai. But after that
Mm-hmm.
they're going straight to just doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, I'm kind of intrigued by this. Well, I mean, first of all, alternate universes are nothing new to Power Rangers. I mean, when you really look at the franchise already, we have multiple continuities. Like there's obviously the separate continuity of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, which took place in a different setting. There's literally two Power Ranger seasons that take place in alternate continuities in Dino Charge and RPM. Um, Funnily enough, they did try to make an alternate universe when they originally aired Ninja Storm, because originally when Disney bought the franchise, they wanted all of their seasons to be like separate from the main continuity. But then, of course, the following season they brought Tommy back, so that whole idea just got thrown out the window.
Tommy breaks
Uh,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then, of course, there's the 2017 movie. Um, but I'm kind of intrigued to see how they'll do this. What's funny is that earlier today, I was watching a video on YouTube. One of my favorite media reviewers, like he does a lot of reviews on movies and TV shows. His name is Captain Midnight. Um, he just did a brief review on the 2017 movie, and talked about how, clearly, um, and he doesn't regularly do Power Ranger stuff, by the way, but I can tell that he's a fan because he does show footage from in those videos from more seasons other than Mighty Morphin, so I can tell that he at least knows the basics of the show. Um, you know, I don't want to completely repeat everything that he said, but he said that clearly the 2017 movie was an attempt to like make a new cinematic universe out of Power Rangers, but I don't I don't know how you guys feel about the 2017 movie. I mean, I liked it when I saw it, but I'm not really a huge fan of it. Just kind of looking back, because it doesn't really scream like this is a movie that you can build a universe out of. So, kind of like like when you look at a movie like Iron Man, aka the movie that literally triggered the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's a movie where you can kind of look at that and like, okay, yeah, you can definitely build a whole universe out of that. I mean, but I don't know how you could do that out of the 2017 Power Rangers movie. All I'm hoping is that if they do try to make more movies, or at the very least try their own original stuff out of Netflix. Only thing I'm going to tell you, Hasbro, if you're listening to this, which you're probably not, you have like a gold mine of source with like the Shattered Grid comics and like all these other ideas that have previously been floated in Power Rangers, like with the Hexagon plan. So all I'm
Yeah.
saying is you would better use those as like a basis, because if you try to do what like the original, well, no, not the original, what the 2017 movie did, and just try to base it solely on Mighty Morphin nostalgia, then you're in trouble. So, because please remember that there's more to Power Rangers than just Mighty Morphin, which thankfully I do think Hasbro is able to do, unlike Saban. But I'm cautiously optimistic about this. Like, what do you guys think?
So
Chris?
I have comments on this. The first big one is, while the 2017 movie wasn't spectacular, um, it does leave itself quite wide open for its own cinematic universe to be formed around it. So for example, they pulled elements from Zeo into the movie. So they had Zeo crystals, they had the entire strife around that. So I mean, they could easily build a whole thing of like their own cinematic universe around the Zeo crystals, which isn't something that they could really do with Iron Man per se, because the only thing that Iron Man had that made it a cinematic universe, honestly, was Nick Fury coming in and saying, "Hey, we're recruiting you to the Avengers Initiative." There was nothing else in the Iron Man original movie that indicated that this could become a whole multi-million, multi-film franchise thing that would storm the entire world by surprise. But at least in the 2017 movie, you had some indication of, well, there's a bigger world than just one group of kids. There's Rangers in the past. There's the villains. There's a lot of stuff in there that, if they had played it well by Saban, they might have had a second and third movie, and after that, who knows? I don't know. But on the other hand, I think they'd be super foolish if they don't try to connect with the comic universe, or maybe adapt the comic universe.
Yeah, I know. Like, definitely don't copy it all the way through. Just
Yeah.
adapt it.
I mean, and
Like,
that's what they did with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They didn't copy verbatim the comics. They pick and chose and took some liberties, and they took some chances, and they built something great out of it.
what do you think, Anthony?
Riz said, I think the 2017 movie, with all of its faults, I think it did like have a good story that going for it. It's just that like there was a whole bunch of other stuff that it just wasn't like stuff they could have done differently that would have made it more successful, but at the same time it kind of like did things different. But I kind of wish that like they would have like maybe focused more on the Ranger aspect of it, because there was barely any of that until the final part of the movie. But I'm looking
Hmm.
forward to see how they do this Netflix-esque, Ranger universe.
Yeah.
I think even if it doesn't turn out the best at first, I mean, I'll give it a chance. All I'm saying is that, like, I guess at the end of the day, though, I'm happy at what Hasbro is trying to do, because, like I said, Power Rangers has always been owned by people. Like, I honestly do think that in the right hands, Power Rangers is a franchise that can compete with like some of the bigger multimedia franchises like Star Wars and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The problem is that it's always been owned by companies that either are just perfectly fine with just keeping it on the small screen, like Saban, or just companies that literally could care less about it, like Disney. So I'm glad that Hasbro is at least pursuing bigger ambitions with it.
Yeah. And I mean, right now they're entering a good phase where they had a pretty strong season with Beast Morphers, and the Dino Fury has been pretty damn good as well. So I think they're on a good track. And, they brought back Lord Zed. They had some stuff going on there. I mean, there's a lot of things they can start pulling from to interconnect and make that universe that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, you could say what you will about like Beast Morphers and Dino Fury. Maybe you don't think that they're perfect, but I honestly think that like with Beast Morphers and Dino Fury, you can't be too harsh on them because even when Hasbro bought the franchise, Power Rangers was still like they were never going to be able to get out of that contract, that extension that Saban signed with Nick. Like they were going to be forced to be on Nickelodeon. So they're obviously they just wanted to play out that contract, and now that they're out of that contract, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, definitely. So
Mhm.
I think there's gonna be a strong collaboration between them and Boom Studios, and if there's not, Hasbro's made a huge mistake because they have a lot of content there. A lot of backstories have been built up. I mean, they have stories for so many minor characters now. I've been reading about it lately, and I mean, they gave backstories to Zed. They gave backstories to the Phantom Ranger. There's a lot of very fascinating stuff out there now from Boom Studios.
Well, if any company can make good decisions for its franchise, I would say it's Hasbro because even when Hasbro originally bought the franchise, Hasbro has a really big history of like embracing, you know, embracing demographics that you wouldn't normally think are would be associated with them. Like, for example, and I know that this isn't the most pleasant example to use, but say what you will about the Brony community. I mean, I'm sure we all have stuff to say about them, but they exist, and Hasbro for a while was kind of making decisions with My Little Pony, knowing that the Brony community exists. And I think they can do the same with Power Rangers, knowing that there's a big adult fan community for it. Like they're not going to try to move their content away from it. They're going to embrace the adult fandom, at least hopefully. But if what they did with My Little Pony is any indication, then yeah, it's good. And we're not going to talk about bronies, but
Yeah, let's move on.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, anyway, we got a lot to talk about. We
I do have
got
one more rare not to bring up though that I kind of remembered while we were talking.
what's that?
Well, two other rare knots, but one's kind of minor, one's kind of major.
Okay, go ahead.
The major one is that for those that don't know, the Gokaiger 10 movie is now subbed and available for people to watch if you know how to find it.
Okay,
Google will tell you how to do that. I've already seen it, and all I'm going to say right now is it's fantastic, and you should all watch it.
cool.
I need to watch it. But I'm
Get
not
get
watching
on
it
it.
until after I watch. I'm
Did we
not watching it
review
until
it?
I finish this episode.
We're going to review it as soon as we finish the last podcast, the one after this one, I think, before we get to Sinkenzer.
Okay.
Cool. That's fair enough then.
The second one is I'm seeing mentions on Reddit of claims that Dawn Brothers
Oh
has
yeah, I
leaked
forgot
some
about this.
information. And the thing that's most interesting is that it seems like some of this avatar ability gives them some kind of access to the former Sentai powers in a very Gokaiger, Zenkaiser type way.
Well, that's
I'm not
weird. It's
certain
not
how
the
I'm not
anniversary
sure how
season.
true that will be in the end, but that is a current rumor going around the Reddit forums, and it's quite interesting. They call it the Legend Gear Altered, and apparently they can do stuff like get these mechs for Saints Hero series, Tokyo's or Alter, and Zeodes or Alter. So they have stuff like that coming out. At least in a toy line. So I don't know how it works, but it's interesting.
Well, if it's the toy line, then maybe that won't have much of an effect on the show because they if that's just the gimmick that they're going to be going with. Sentai has a history of to give an example. You remember the batteries that they used? They were called the Judenchi and Kyoryuger, or the Dino Chargers and Dino Charge. They
Yeah.
when Kyoryuger was airing, they created Judenchi for like other Sentai teams. Like I remember there was a Kaku Ranger, Judenchi, Gokaiger one, a Tokyu. Yeah, I think there was a Tokyu. No, wait, no, not Tokuger because Tokuger came out after Kyoryuger. But yeah, that could just be a toy gimmick exclusive thing.
Yeah, but either way, it's interesting that we got that bit of information. So, and there's a lot of other info out there, but I'm not gonna discuss it super a lot because none of it's been confirmed. It's all hearsay from what seems to be one Twitter account
Yeah.
that I don't have much information on. So, yeah, there's
Well,
a lot of stuff like colors of suits and names and all
we'll be
kinds of
seeing
stuff.
scans of it popping up soon. So
Yeah, no, we're gonna scan soon enough, but
yeah.
it's interesting to see, like, the stuff coming out on Twitter and Reddit about what's coming in the future.
Mhm. Anything else you guys have?
No, I think we can get right into it,
No.
Nate.
All right. We're going to jump into Gokaiger's episodes 39 through 48. So we're going to give a brief recap of what happened in our previous review. So the Gokaigers obtained multiple Grand Powers. In their previous review, they obtained the Grand Powers of the Jetman. They discovered an additional feature of the Aba Ranger Grand Power, which allows them to combine Gokaiyo and Gojujin, although that doesn't mean anything anymore because they're never going to use that again. They got the Life Man Grand Power. They obtained, they didn't use it. Oh, no, they did, but it doesn't, but that's not important. They got the O Ranger Grand Power, which allowed them to create a weapon, which is like their shared team bazooka called the Gokai Galleon Buster, which is awesome. They also have obtained the Goanger Grand. Wait, no. They already had the Goanger Grand Power, but they were able to fully unlock it. They have a new ally in a Falcon slash Formula race car hybrid called Mach Alkin, who the Gokai. And when we last left off with the Gokaigers, they defeated Barizorg. And Warzugil, and they also have their own Grand Power, which allows them to combine the Gokai Galleon with Gojujin and Mach Alkin to form Kanzen Gokaio. And the other very important thing to note is that Basco also has 3 Grand Powers. He currently has the Grand Powers of the Change Man, the Mask Man, and the Flash Man. So I guess I don't know how many more Grand Powers. Wait, hold on. I think we have probably less than 10 at this point. I'm not sure. But it doesn't matter because, spoiler alert, they're all going to be rounded up in this video, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to jump right in. Now, normally I tend to give us a general recap of the opening episode, but this time I'm actually going to give those honors to Anthony. So go ahead, Anthony, take it away.
All right. So episode 39 is titled "Why." We're high school. This is a tribute episode to Mega Ranger, which was the Sentai that did into Power Rangers and Kenta, the Mega Ranger special Grand Power. And so at first, when Navi gives them the direction of like where they need to go, it's mostly say, hey, like let's need to go to Moriboshi High School, I believe it was called. That's the
Yeah.
high school that all the Mega Rangers attended to in Mega Ranger, up until they graduate, after they graduate. So in pretty much in this episode, it's really just them meeting Date. and him telling him like, "Hey, I'll give you guys grand power, but I'm gonna need you just to dress up as high school students and kind of just walk around and kind of just like just roam the halls and as students, I guess." And the Gokaiger were kind of just like not really sure why he wants to do this. But turns out he actually just wanted them to understand that these students have goals and they have dreams. And he was just kind of like opening their eyes to like, wow, like school is actually a place where you can try to make your dreams come true, and to do the things you want to do, like you want to, play basketball, you want to like do well in school so you can like be good with with the technology, and then you have some that want to find love. There's some others who, you know, just want to do different stuff. And in this episode, Bosco does of course return in this episode. He actually ends up being he ends up using the school as holding the school as hostage because he basically planted bombs everywhere in the school. And Bosco basically tells Date that, listen, if you don't give me your grand power, I'm gonna blow the school up and I'm gonna kill all your kids. Which is pretty messed up if you really think about it. Um, Guy thankfully was actually following Date and was able to, I guess, hold him off until the other Hokages get there. And in this episode, we actually get the full Gokai change for all the Mega Rangers. Yeah, we had one. I think we had one that 3 episodes back, but this is the first official one where they all have like they do the Gokai change, and the entrance sequence actually mirrors that of the Mega Rangers back when they first transformed for the first time.
Yeah, they've done Mega Ranger a couple of times.
Yeah, but this is the one they actually like did like an actual like full transformation for it.
Yeah.
And actually, one cool note is that Bosco's plan actually kind of mimics the main villain of Mega Ranger because he and want to enact a attack on school as well once he finds out who the Mega Rangers were. So that was a nice little cool callback.
Mhm.
I know there are a few other references to the episode. They have one where like where like Gokai Silver says Gokaiger win, which is something that happens after they defeat, when the Mega Rangers defeat the monster. The little title screen says Mega Ranger win, and
Yep.
Mega Red always says game over. That was their like little, I guess, shit. Every so often Red Rangers will have some cool little mantra they say at the end of every battle. And
Well, I
this
think
was
that's
actually
common in
interesting.
Sentai. I think that's common in Sentai now. I don't think it was as common in Sentai back then when Mega Ranger was out.
Yeah, it's more prevalent now than it was back then.
Yeah. I mean, and they do it in Power Rangers all the time now. That's practically become a kind of thing. Like you got Samurai Rangers, Victory is Ours, Mega Rangers, that's a mega
Ugh.
win.
So,
Uh, don't they say Virus
Violence
eliminated?
reminds of terrible words.
yeah, in Beast Morphers they do say virus eliminated.
Yeah. At least they're getting better with those in battle catchphrases.
Yeah.
Any more to the episode, Anthony?
Um, I do know that. Let's see. Of course Bosco ends up using one of his little pursuit,
Roids.
like his little life, his roids to attack the Gokaigers. They use Kanzen Gokaio when they fuse both Gokaio and Gozujin together, as that's pretty much their like go-to form during most of their fights now.
Mm-hmm.
They beat them up, beat the Roid, and Kenta basically like feels in the bargain and gives them the greater power. And they just about to leave the school, and he asked if the crew was willing to get some Korean barbecue, which is kind of funny because that was his thing back
Oh
in
yeah,
Mega
he's
Ranger. He would
discussing that
always
stuff.
want to eat Korean barbecue. I ain't mad at him. Like, Korean barbecue's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Like
missed some Korean barbecue, man.
I could still remember the time when we had first got it the first time. That was my
Oh, in
god,
New
that was good.
Orleans?
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's the
Yep,
only thing about New Orleans I'm gonna probably miss now that MechaCon's gone.
Yeah,
I know.
That was like the best place to go eat out.
it was.
hmm
So if you're ever in New Orleans, my fellow podcaster friends, check out Little Korea Korean Barbecue. It's right down there in downtown New Orleans. So excellent food. If you go, you gotta get a volcano fried rice in my honor.
hmm
So yeah, carry on.
Yep. So, what did you guys think of the episode? I personally liked it. Of course, I've recently like watched Mega Ranger all the way through, so like it's not as fresh, but it's still fresher in my mind because I still remember the final battle in my head because it was just fantastic.
This is a pretty standard. That's not a bad thing. It's a pretty standard tribute episode, in my opinion. I don't think there's anything that stands out, um, but I still like it. Okay. I think the big thing that kind of makes it is it's cool seeing Kenta. I've seen Mega Ranger all the way through too, although it's been a while since I've seen it. Uh, I do remember a lot of Kenta. Him being a teacher at the school is kind of funny, considering how he. Spoiler alert for those who haven't watched Mega Ranger. Just a minor spoiler. He's not exactly the best student. In fact, he can be kind of an idiot
No,
sometimes.
no,
So,
very, very the
so
weasel.
seeing him be a teacher is pretty funny. Um, but yeah, I do. I do like how the whole high school element of it. I can give it credit for that because Mega Ranger is one of the, you know, being in high school is probably one of the big things that made Mega Ranger unique. So
Mhm.
yeah, it nothing special, but it works, and that's all I can really say. It's not terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty standard for you know tribute episode. It's nothing like super fantastic, but it's also not bad. It's good and it's there.
Yeah.
I think what made me like it the most was it focuses on the Gokaigers being like you know more understanding of like what's at stake. When it comes to like these kids and like they're willing to go this much just to save them.
hmm
And the kids that they met today like literally helped them out all the way through, and it's just a nice little full circle when it comes to like how the episode was made.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm. And apparently, freaking Marvelous can b-ball.
Oh yeah,
Dude, Marvelous is gonna trounce on Michael Jordan.
Oh, you
absolutely.
already know.
Oh man.
He'll make LeBron James look like a rookie.
LeBron
Oh,
who? LeBron who?
Who's Kobe? Who's this Kobe Bryant you're talking about? Oh wait,
Who's that
no.
Anthony Davis fellow we got? You know there's a guy named
was like,
Anthony
Mom, because I
Davis
watched
who
my
plays
movie.
basketball,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, not you, Anthony. There's literally a guy in the
No, no,
NBA
no,
named
no. I
Anthony
know.
Davis. So,
She already know this. I already know this already. I get joked on, but my coworkers at work a lot about it. So
oh, okay.
No, it's just
yeah,
something
I
whenever
understood the reference.
I mentioned to a friend I have a guy named Anthony Davis I'm really good friends with, and he's like, how do you know the basketball player is? And I was like,
Oh,
I
um,
literally was like, what?
well, you see, I know a guy who knew a guy who killed a mom in Reno, and
that's the
we'll tell the
ultimate way to
tale.
troll people.
Yeah,
You want to
Who's
move
this
on to the next
guy?
one?
yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah.
All right, so the next episode is episode 40. I'll be taking on this one. It's called The Future Is Past. This is the tribute episode for Time Ranger, and you can all probably guess what Power Ranger Sentai was, what Power Ranger season was adapted from Time Ranger. Yep, that's right, Mega Force. No, I'm just kidding. Time Force. Um, uh, so,
Notes from the Anime Secret staff: Nathan Dasa fired.
okay, well,
Carry on.
anyway, in this episode, the Gokaigers receive a message from the future. It's been established that a guy's mech, Goju Drill, is kept in the 30th century in the base where the Time Rangers are. They receive a message from Domon, a Time Ranger officer who is also the former Time Yellow. He tells the Gokaigers that they need to travel back in time to the previous year of 2010 in order to protect the Negakure Shrine, which was previously destroyed. And he says that if they were to save that shrine, then they will be able to obtain another Grand Power. The Gokaigers travel back in time, during which they encounter multiple people trying to attack the shrine. Guy encounters a child who uh, is having issues with his mom. Like, he's ran away because his mom travels a lot, and he apparently doesn't have a dad. There's a big scene here that explains something that I'll go into a little bit detail about in a second. But long story short, first the Gokaigers encounter Nanashi, which are the foot soldiers of Shinkenger. They were called Moogers in Power Ranger Samurai. They stop. They stop the Nanashi, and they end up destroying the person who they think is attacking the shrine, named Shitari. He was a main villain in Shinkenger, and he was the counterpart for, I think his name was Octoroo in Power Ranger Samurai. But then one of the Ghost Sager villains, Metal Alice, whose name was Metal Alice in Megaforce as well. She attacks the shrine with a monster. The Gokaigers use Time Ranger to destroy the monster. During this episode, Guy finally uses the Gingaman Grand Power in Gojujin, because they did receive it, but they never used it. And it's nothing special. It just allows Gojujin to throw this attack that's similar to Bull Taurus, which was what that was the counterpart for the Magna Defender Zord, Defender Torzord. The episode ends with the Gokaigers reuniting the boy with his mom, who has a very familiar looking face, although it's probably only familiar to me since I've seen Time Ranger. If you haven't seen Time Ranger and it wouldn't work out, then it wouldn't make sense until the end of the episode, of course. And the episode ends with the Gokaigers arriving back in the present. They realize that they didn't obtain a Grand Power, which frustrates them, although there's something in the shrine that implies that maybe their mission with that shrine is not entirely over. Foreshadowing for a later episode, by the way, guys. And as the episode ends, the Gokaigers send a picture back from the shrine, during which Domon recognizes the woman, and I'll go into a little bit more detail on this, although not too much, since I don't want to spoil it for Anthony and Rizwan, plus the people who haven't seen Time Ranger. But okay. I might as well just say that woman is a reporter that. Okay, there's an episode of Time Force that you might remember where Katie is working for a photographer who accidentally discovers the Rangers' identities. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in Time Ranger, that character is a little bit of a bigger character and has a little bit of a relationship with Domon, the Time Yellow, and well, you've seen the Gokaiger episode, so I guess you could figure it out. That's the woman, which means that that boy is his son, which is
That to me is crazy and awesome.
yeah, but that's really screwing up the timeline if you think about it.
Yeah, that's
Like,
kind of like if Wes and Jin had a kid, and like Jin could only bring it to the future, only have it happen in the future, but couldn't bring it to the past. You know, it's just like it's like that. And it's just kind of like you know what?
I do like that element though, and I don't want to go into detail on it because you guys still need to see Time Ranger, which is amazing by the way. But just to kind of put it simply, without giving spoilers, I do like that evolution of their relationship because Domon and this reporter, her name is Hinami. She they both had a really good romance story. I'm not a big fan of Delmon. He actually no, he's not my least favorite Time Ranger. That would probably have to be Xion, Time Green. But Delmon can be kind of a jerk sometimes in Time Ranger. But I think that the relationship that he has with Hanami is good. So so I definitely like that part. But there's a bigger thing that I have to address in this episode, which kind of unintentionally dominates most of the episode because Time Ranger is hardly a factor in this. So as I said, the Gokaigers in this episode end up battling a Shinkenger villain and destroying him. Well, okay, so I kind of got to give a bit of an explanation here. So I don't know if they do this anymore, but way back then in Sentai, and it feels weird saying that about Gokaiger. Wow, I'm getting old. Um, uh, Whenever the scans of the upcoming Sentai were revealed, during the crossover movies, which always tended to come out near the end of a Sentai, whenever they were having their final battle, they would have a brief moment in the battle where the Sentai of the upcoming series would make a very brief appearance and they would have a battle. They would never actually reveal their names or anything. They would just be there, they would fight, they would defeat a villain, and then they would be like, bye, and then they would walk off. And they did this with the Gokaigers. They did it for Gokaiger versus Shinkenger. And they do actually show shots of the Gokaiger versus Shinkenger battle in this episode. This was obviously a necessary episode because when the Gokaigers appeared in that movie, they were somehow able to use Ranger keys because they did an all-red Gokai change in that movie. Well, how can they do that when the Great Legend War hasn't happened at that point? So the Ranger keys wouldn't have existed. So this episode was just kind of using Time Ranger as an excuse to kind of try to explain that. And I think it's fine. I
I'm all
almost
for
kind
it.
of, the only thing I'll complain about is how this was a perfect opportunity for Saban to get a little creative with like the Mega Rangers defeating Octoroo and Power Ranger Samurai. You literally could have used this footage. Why did you not do that? You absolute moron. Um,
Mhm.
but other than that, the only big thing that they changed from it is that they changed the original dialogue. In the original Gokaiger versus Shinkenger movie, which is the best Sentai crossover movie ever, I don't care what anybody else says.
Yep, it definitely is. I can attest to that too.
Marvelous makes a fourth wall joke. He said, "Hey, we're in a movie, so let's be showy." Um, they have to change that because you're not in a movie anymore, Marvelous, so you can't say that. Aside from that, though, the dialogue remains the same. It was pretty cool. Plus, kind of a clever way to save some money on battle footage because, you know, like you can literally just take all that stock footage from the Gokaiger movie, maybe just have the Gokaiger say a few different lines, and then voila. I mean, you've just saved a lot of money. So I will say that I think that element kind of takes a little bit away from the Time Ranger tribute elements, but I'm fine with it. I think you kind of did have to give that explanation, and as far as the explanation goes, I'm fine with it. Like you travel back in time, so
I mean, I'm fine with it
Yeah.
too, except I kind of wanted more of a sneak peek into the Time Ranger characters. We didn't really get that in this. I mean, we got like a grand total of 2 minutes with Time Yellow, and that's barely enough to get like any sense of anything. So I kind of wish we had a little bit more with him.
I can agree with that too. I think the Time Ranger characters, you know, some of the best characters. I actually think that they have the best blue Sentai Ranger ever. So,
Like the American counterpart.
oh yeah, he is. Time Blue absolutely just destroys Lucas. I'm just gonna say that.
Good.
Um,
Good, but
like,
yeah, after
that is one reason why I despise Lucas. Like, he does not do his Sentai counterpart justice at all.
Yeah.
Like, no.
feel so bad defending that man the way I
Yeah.
do. Ah,
But you guys will get to see more of that when we review Time Ranger, which we are absolutely going to do on this show.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
what did you think, Anthony? You've been kind of quiet on this.
So I actually did like this episode, but it wasn't for the Time Ranger stuff. It was mostly just, the callback to the movie, really.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that, like, we get to see the perspective of like how they viewed the fight. They viewed the entire fight from their perspective because we just briefly saw them, you know, fighting Shigenja villains, and we're just like, oh, well, that's cool.
It is also cool how we see the
But I agree.
Gokaigers fighting villains from like the previous two Sentais, because they don't fight any Gokaiger
Mm-hmm.
villains at all in this episode.
None whatsoever.
Because even that robot monster that they fight as the Time Rangers, those were like standard monsters in the Ghost Ager era. Because I'm pretty sure Metal Alice used all of her monsters looked exactly like that.
Yeah.
You got anything else to say, Riz or Anthony?
No. I'm
I'm
good.
good, man.
Okay, then we'll move on to episode 41. I'm gonna give you that one to you, Riz. So take it away.
All right. So episode 41 is entitled "Something I Don't Want to Lose," and this will be an Ahim centric episode. And I'm going to start off by saying these are, in my opinion, far and very, very few of these that exist. And I've come to love Ahim more. I see her this will go around. I hadn't seen Gokaiger for quite a while, so I kind of forgot how amazing Ahim was in the grand scheme of this entire uh series. Um, so in this case, it's just this takes place right after Akato's guild takes over, and Gokaiger's starting to think, well, Zana gonna really attack for a while. What's going on there? Well, cut to the emperor's to the gigantic horse. The emperor's fleet has arrived, and Emperor gets in and tells them, "Hey, Damaris and Sarn, I'm here to take over, and y'all can't do much of anything because I have my two bodyguards, Zatsurig and Durando."
Yeah.
And
Yep.
he throws Damaris into the brig for failure to protect Warzugil. And honestly, how does anyone protect Warzugil from Warzugil? Because that wasn't Damaris's fault. It really wasn't. I empathize with the dude
It
in this
wasn't.
case. But
Same here.
yeah, so the Emperor sends in Zatsurig, and that's very important because that's the entire crux for this episode. So Zatsurig meets up with Zoe, Ahim, and Guy, and immediately Ahim sees him and changes her entire behavior, and she goes head on attacking him in mindless raids, no thought for planning or what's going on or team coordination or anything. Like see Gokai changed before Zoe and Guy even had a chance to even react. So she was going nuts trying to fight him. And the thing about Zatsurig is he has an eye in his chest that lets him freeze his opponents in place for a little bit. And he used that to his advantage to overpower the three of them pretty quickly before leaving, saying he'll be back for them later on. And it's revealed that Ahim hates this guy because he's the one that destroyed her planet, which killed her entire family, which made her flee and set her across this life that she's currently living now. And she had vowed, I'm going to destroy the one who destroyed everything I had. And as she goes back to the galleon and she tries to sneak out late at night, and we get one of the most emotionally charged episodes, in my opinion. I don't know what y'all think of the entire series up until now. The galleon's dark. She tries to sneak out to go back out and find him on her own because she doesn't want to involve her newfound family in this. And Marvelous kind of comes out and says, so that's why you've been acting weird. This is the guy that destroyed your family. And the other Gokaigers reveal themselves and say, this makes a lot of sense. And guess what? You're not doing this alone. We're going to help you. And this really kind of brings out an emotionally charged moment of, if you're watching this episode, I think you'd have tears in your eyes at that part. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm sentimental. I don't know. But I think it was pretty emotionally charged. So they vow to fight Zatsurig and get rid of him and avenge the Famil family. So, the next day they go out to try and find him and battle him. And one important thing is that Marvelous says he doesn't want to lose anything while doing all this. It's going to come up later in the episode, and that's the only reason I brought it up. So, while fighting, Ahim finds a plan to force the eye to be closed so that he can't use it to attack them. And they use a pretty interesting battle plan to just take that eye out. And finally, they use the Gokai Galleon Buster to destroy him and to defeat him once and for all using Kanz and Gokai in the mech fight. So the episode ends with Ahim happy, thanking everyone for helping her get revenge, and Marvel said he's happy for her for getting what she wanted. And at the end, Guy gets this idea of, wait, Ahim is the thing that Marvelous didn't want to lose. Marvelous goes and starts to choke the fuck out of this dude. And the episode ends with Ahim confused and Marvelous trying to choke Guy. And yeah. The implication here being that Guy thinks that Marvelous has a thing for Ahim, and it's a huge thing all over Sentai Reddit if y'all don't know about that. People spend
Really?
a lot of time and effort trying to say that Marvelous has a huge thing for Ahim.
I wasn't aware of this. Cool.
I said in our first Gokaiger review that I think Ahim and Joe make more sense, but
If
their
you want
opinions.
a pairing, honestly, I think Luca and Marvelous make the most sense.
I've always gotten a vibe between Luca and Dawn, honestly.
I mean, okay, yeah. In terms of who hangs out with who, yes. But personality-wise, you can't deny that they have a good chemistry.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Even though I don't want to hear that, you have a point.
So, what do y'all think of the episode?
Listen. Luca is waifu for lifeu, okay?
Okay. As long
Okay,
as you
cool,
remember
man.
to Sierra as my waifu for lifeu.
Cool.
That's kind of funny because we're basically like the adapted version of each character. That's pretty.
Yeah. So what do y'all think of this?
Oh,
I
this is a
think
great
this was
episode.
this was definitely a good character episode. I would probably say um, as far um, as far as ranking the episodes where we find out how the other Gokaigers became Gokaigers, I still think Joe's episode is my favorite. That was way back, the Shinkenger tribute episode. This is a strong second for me, though. I think I I like how I really like the strong story that's given for why Ahim would become a pirate, and I think they give a really great explanation on how valuable Ahim is, because she's not just a pirate, but she's a really great teammate, and we're just keeping the team together because we kind of skimmed over this, but there's an entire section of the episode where the Gokaigers are talking about how Ahim was kind of a pain to like train in combat, and she once tried to like run the washing machine or the dishwasher and ended up flooding the whole Gokai galleon. Um,
Look,
but
man, she tried her level best.
yeah,
And I love her for trying her level best, alright?
and but the reason why the Gokaigers like her is because they got into fights all the time before she showed up. But then but when she came on and she just had this real like gentle and like caring nature that kind of just made them feel less inclined to get into fights. Yet she helps bring the team together more, which that's perfect writing. I really do think that that's perfect. That makes perfect sense. Um, uh, one other thing is that this is the first time someone other than Marvelous uses the Gokai Galleon Buster, because Iam uses it in this episode. Um,
Yeah, and I think no, okay. There's one other person who uses it up until the end of this review. Yeah, carry on.
yeah. Um, the only thing, and this is kind of a nitpick, um, and even then, this has nothing to do with the quality of the story. So when the Gokaigers are battling against Zatsurig at the end, they do this like little they do this like weird like barrage of Gokai changes where I am and one of the other Gokaigers does an attack, and all of the ones that she does with the male Gokaigers kind of make sense with the tag team. Like, okay, so she transforms. She and Guy do the go on wings. Go on gold and go on silver. I mean that just kind of that already makes sense because they were brother and sister and were already kind of a tag team. Um, with Joe, she does Deca Master and Deca Swan, which again makes sense. If you watch Deca Ranger, you'll know that those two people are kind of like a couple, like they got a thing going for each other. So that makes sense. And with Marvelous, they use both the Shinken Red Ranger keys. Marvelous uses regular Shinken Red, and she uses Hime Shinken Red. The one that she uses with Luca doesn't work though, because like they both use the female Go Sagers. Like you could have come up with another like better female duo. Like I don't know, you could have done like the twin cam angels. That would be Deca Yellow and Deca Pink. I'm sorry, from Deca Ranger. Uh, yeah, that's just a nitpick. Like you could have done like I don't know. That's kind of an issue, but I don't know. Maybe they just couldn't think of another duo. But still, the duos that she did with the two Geigo catchers were cool.
Oh yeah.
Did you Did you have anything, Anthony?
Like you said, I really enjoyed the multiple Gokai changes that I did with each of the Gokaigers. especially like the one with freaking Deca Master and Deca Swan. That was a really good one. And I just really like this episode was really like heartbreaking for me to watch. I was like, bruh, like poor Ahim. Like I literally said this in the like when I messaged y'all about it. I was like, wow, this was a very sad, heartfelt episode, and I really like it made me appreciate Ahim even more than I did when I first initially watched the show back then, and I still like her to the day now.
Yeah. Did you have anything else, Anthony?
No, I said my piece.
Okay. Well, all you guys back at home, I hope you guys have enjoyed all these single episodes because we are about to look at not one, not two, but two-part episodes. So buckle up because things are about to get real. So we're going to move on to episode 42 and 43. 42 is called The Strongest Man in the Universe, and 43 is called To the Legendary Hero. Both of these episodes are Dawn-centric. In this episode, Damaris is let out of prison in order to deal with the Gokaigers. He enlists Basco's help, during which he literally beats Basco down and forces him to submit. And that's pretty good foreshadowing because it's been pretty much established that Basco is almost kind of invincible in this new monster form. Like even when he was battling the Mega Rangers in the tribute episode we just went over, he was wiping the floor with Marvelous and Guy. So for him to be able to beat Basco so easily, that's pretty impressive. But anyway, so while Damaris and Basco are making their plan, the Gokaigers locate this. They find this magazine article of a legendary hero who killed a dragon, who looks exactly like Dawn. Dawn apparently has a star-shaped birthmark on his arm, just like the legendary hero is supposed to have. Dawn starts talking about how he has amnesia, and maybe he is the legendary hero. We get a brief flashback of how Dawn became a Gokaiger. Remember, he was the fourth Gokaiger to join. He was living. His planet was destroyed by the Zanyak, and he was kind of living in a shack on another planet. He was found by Marvelous Joe and Luca. And I'm going to say Luca's little disguise, trying to be like this innocent little girl, was absolutely cute. In that flashback. Sorry, I just wanted to comment on that. Sorry, Anthony, I'm not touching anything, but
No. You can still say sweet things about her. That is perfectly fine with me.
Oh, he can look, but he can't touch. I get it. It's fine.
Cool, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, the Gokai Galleon was damaged. Guy helped repair it, and he gave the Gokaigers something decent to eat, and the Gokaigers were all like, wow, so you're like this big computer geek, and you can make us good food? Well, guess what, dude? You're our newest member, and we're gonna call you Doc. Welcome to the team, buddy. And that's about it. So Don joined, and while the Gokaigers are still out trying to help Don find out about his past, they get attacked by Damaris. And keep in mind, they've never encountered Damaris before, so they're all pretty surprised. Damaris makes it pretty clear that he's pretty strong, because literally when he throws an attack at the Gokaigers, it hits a building and pretty much shatters the whole thing. And that's like a whole building. So Joe recognizes Damaris. Yeah, Joe recognizes Damaris, saying that he's like the strongest man in the universe. The Gokaigers try to battle Damaris, but he proves to be too powerful. And when they try to retreat, Basco stops them and cuts the Gokaigers off. And as part one ends, all the Gokaigers are defeated. Marvelous sends this like fire attack at Joe, Luca, Ahim, and Guy, and supposedly incinerates them to death. So 4 Gokaigers just died, supposedly. Marvelous is taken hostage by Damaris, but Dawn is just left because Dawn considered Dawn a credible threat, so he just kind of leaves Dawn to just rot. And Marvelous is taken aboard. That then leads us into episode 43, where Dawn reveals that he actually lied about being a legendary hero when he just kind of created the magazine article and the birthmark just as a trick. Meanwhile, Marvelous is taken to Actos Gil, the Emperor, where he's ordered to be publicly executed. And as Damaris begins to make his plan to execute Marvelous, Don has this flashback to his first battle as a Gokaiger, where he was encouraged to not try to fight too hard, just do what he can. And he decides, okay, well, I can just do what I can and I can save Marvelous. Now, one big important thing to bring up is that just before this happens, Basco arrives to kind of taunt Marvelous a little bit before he gets executed, during which he reveals that he has 2 more Grand Powers, Sun Vulcan and 5-Man. And even though it's not said in this episode, that means that there's only 2 Grand Powers left: Battle Fever J and Kaku Ranger. Because the Gokaigers have so there's 34 Grand Powers in total. Basco has 5, and the Gokaigers have 27. I think yeah, that makes sense. Wow, the Gokaigers have a lot of Grand Powers.
Yeah.
So
I
Don,
think 28 actually total. You're 20. It's 28, by the way.
yeah. Oh, okay. So anyway, Don arrives and he goes through like a series of Gokai changes to keep the Zangyak held off. He eventually lures Damaris away from Marvelous, which allows Navi to sneak in and free Marvelous from his chains. He frees Marvelous. The Gokai, they show up. The Gokaigers show up to. They prepare to do battle against Damaris. The other 4 Gokaigers show up, and it's revealed that Basco did not kill them. When they were attacked, Sally grabbed. That's Basco's sidekick. She grabbed them and took them away from the attack. And it's here that Basco stabs Damaris in the back as he reveals that he has a reason to keep the Gokaigers alive, which, yeah, we established he wants the Gokaigers to gather up the remaining Grand Powers so that he can steal them all. Which, yeah, I like that. That's, in all my years of watching Power Rangers and Super Sentai, that's the most realistic explanation I've ever seen for a villain keeping the Rangers alive for so long. So kudos to the writers.
My man is lazy and there's nothing else you can say about it.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go
that's what it comes down to.
control the Sentai teams.
But so he abandons Damaris. The Gokaigers all come together. They do an all-green Gokai change, which the only thing to note about that all-green Gokai change is that there's unlike most Sentai, unlike most Gokai changes, where when they do an all one of the same color, they're usually all ones from a Power Rangers franchise. This time, there's only 2 Sentai Rangers that they transform into that were adapted into Power Rangers. And funnily enough, they were both called the Green Samurai Ranger because Joe transforms into Shinken Green, the Green Ranger from Power Ranger Samurai, and Guy transforms into Shurikenger, who was called the Green Samurai Ranger in Power Rangers Ninja Storm. So that's pretty funny. I don't know if that was intentional on the writer's part. Probably not. but still. The Gokaigers
It probably
defeat.
wasn't.
Yeah. The Gokaigers defeat Damaris. They have to use the Gokai Galleon Buster to shoot him twice, during which Don uses the Gokai Galleon Buster a second time. They defeat Damaris using this combo attack where they use Kansen Gokaio and their other 4 Grand Powers, that being the Maji Dragon, Pat Striker, Furai Maru, and the Gao Lion. And the episode ends with the Gokaigers kind of admitting that Don, even though he's not the best fighter or the most effective as a pirate, he's still a legendary hero in their book. And then they ask him for more food. So I like this episode pretty good. I do think I definitely think they do a good job at kind of establishing how great of a fighter Damaris is, because like I said, he's able to wipe the floor with Basco early on in the episode, even though Basco is almost kind of invincible in his monster form. So if Damaris can do that, that's just really impressive. As far as the Dawn aspect of it goes, I like what they do. You know, having Dawn, aka the weakest Gokaiger, kind of have to be the one who saves them when the Gokaigers are going up against one of their strongest enemies. I think that the whole aspect of him becoming a Gokaiger and like the backstory of him becoming a Gokaiger is kind of glanced over, though. I don't know. I think overall this episode was great. The final battle with Damaris was great. But this is probably this is probably not the best two-parter episode out of the 3 that we're going to be taking a look at, but I still think it's pretty solid. What did you guys think of it?
It was okay. I mean, it was good to see Dawn get some focus and confidence. I just was not as into this two-parter as I was others in the past or in the future.
I remember when it originally aired, the one thing that wanted me to come back was to see, like, they do a good job at the end of the first part, like making it look as if like those 4 Gokaigers are dead. Like, you know that they're not going to be dead, but you kind of want to see how they get out of it. So, that was the big thing that did it for me. What did you think, Anthony?
I overall liked it. Especially the fact that like Dawn actually stepped up and was like, "Hey, like, it's just me, but I'm gonna give you a fight, and I'm not gonna like back down until like I get my captain back." And he was. I love that he didn't have a plan after helping Marvelous escape. He was just kind of like, "Oh, I didn't have anything else planned. I just kind of just did this. This was the plan." Marvelous is like, "What?" But overall, I like the story though, and especially like the fact that like Bosco being Bosco was able to use Dahmer's and his and basically tricking him to thinking like, "Oh, you thought that I was actually gonna like kill all the Gokaigers? No, of course not. I still need them. So yeah, you're dead. Bye bye."
Again, it's a good explanation. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Indeed.
So we're going to take a bit of a break from a brief break from the two-parter episodes. We're going to be. It's actually kind of fitting that we're doing this review in December because it's almost Christmas time and we got a Christmas episode to cover, and I'm going to let Anthony take care of that one. So go ahead, Anthony.
Ah, what a lovely Christmas Eve is actually the name of the episode we're watching. um, so basically, this is a Luca focus episode. It involves a little girl, or like not a little girl, but like a teenage girl and her little brother. and the whole like she kind of gets on his case about like a lot of stuff, and when the new monster or the new general attacks, with the ability to turn people into like small like dolls or whatever. Is it? Yeah, I was gonna say they look more like, I guess. Yeah, no, yeah, they're dolls. I would say dolls.
Yeah.
Um, the little boy gets turned into a doll, and of course the sister is very like, upset, and she kind of blamed herself. Maybe she was too hard on her brother about things, and um, low key, this was also a Battlefield with J tribute episode, but it wasn't really that heavy focus on that. So that's something I wanted to bring up. Um, but yeah, so with the Gokai's help, the girl ends up saving her brother by actually using a very clever way of doing this. So like Luca uses herself as bait to get herself turned into a doll, and then she ends up giving her Gokai Cylinder and her Gokai Ranger key to have the girl transform into Gokai Yellow and retrieve the wand that allowed the monster to turn people into dolls. That's it for him, and they managed to reverse the spell, turn everybody back to normal. And with that, it let everybody back to normal. Then destroying the wand, and Mhm.
Sorry about that. That was something that just popped up on my computer. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're good.
No problem.
What else happens? Oh yeah, so they use they turn the Battlefield for J, and I'm just gonna say this right now. I am not a fan of these costumes at all. Like I was never like when I first like seen these
Yeah,
guys like appear, I
we
was
don't
just
talk
like,
about Beaver
this
J suits.
hentai? Ugh, that was I just didn't like how it looked. It just looked so. It, Out of all the Ranger suits I've seen over the like all the Ranger suits that have appeared over the past decades, this is by far the worst, in my personal
I
opinion.
don't even know if
Guys,
I
let me know.
like. They definitely are the worst suits, but the sad thing is, like, if I'm gonna do like a top 10 like worst Sentai suits ever, I don't even know if it's okay for me to put Battle Fever J because, like, is it even fair? Like, it's just not fair at
It
how bad
is.
these suits
I
are.
just don't understand why were these the suits they decided to use.
Yeah. It just isn't fair. They just. Yeah.
It was pretty lazy on their part, but
And what's funny is that,
oh wait,
they don't even have a henshin sequence in Battle Fever J. They just put the
no, they don't.
suits on.
Really?
Yeah, there's
Like
no
they
henshin
just put them
sequence.
on. They just put the suits on, like
Yeah.
nothing. Oh, and of course, I can't forget. This is our first time seeing the Gokai Christmas Ranger. So what ends up happening is that Guy ends up asking Marvelous and Dawn for their Ranger keys because they were still transforming to Falcon J at the time, and he ends up using his powers to merge both the keys together to form basically a red slash green Ranger calling himself Gokai Christmas.
That's awesome.
I liked
He's
it.
OP.
He really is though.
Hmm.
I mean, imagine if you
But
took
overall,
like the two strongest Sentais and just merged them together into one key.
Oh, Lord. That would be bad.
mm-hmm.
Or what if you could expand that to be like, I'm not gonna just be Kenzer. I'm gonna be the entire team in one key.
Jesus.
I mean, where's the limits on this guy?
I need more power.
Yeah, basically.
Carry
But
on.
yeah, but overall, this was actually not a bad episode. Oh, and by the way, uh, Akibono, who was Battle Kenya, he basically was dressing himself as Santa Claus. Uh, and I guess he just gave the Rangers the Battle Fever J Grand Power without them realizing it.
Yep.
And yeah, that's it. So now they're up to 29 powers, and Moscow has 5.
And I'm convinced that they probably just kind of shoehorned him into this episode because what's funny is that this was also around the time when the Gokaigers had their little crossover movie with Uchu Cage Gaban. And the guy who played Battle Kenya was also Gavin. So they thought, oh, yeah, that's right. You were in Battle Fever J. Well, we need to find a way to get them the Battle Fever J Grand Power. So could you put on a Santa suit for like 2 seconds? You know?
Didn't he play something else besides that as well?
He was also Dingy Blue in Dingy
That's
Man.
what I thought.
Dingy Man.
Yeah.
He was in Dingy Man. No, was he? Yeah, Dingy Blue.
Yeah, well, the most awesome character he played was Uchu Gage
Yep.
Gabon. I haven't seen that show, but I can already tell that he was probably the most awesome there.
The movie was really good.
Yeah.
I watched a crossover movie years ago for that, and that was good.
And he was the character was later adapted into Power Rangers Beast Morphers as Chaku.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Captain Shaku.
Mhm. Which was actually kind of ironic because Chaku is literally one of the phrases that he uses when he transforms.
Yeah, he says, Joe
It's like
Shaku.
Cho Taku, Taku. Yep.
Yeah.
Clever, Hasbro. Very clever.
I just want to say this. I've seen a bunch of Christmas episodes. I think this one is fine. I like. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess it kind of makes sense with it being like an episode talking about like the meaning of Christmas, which makes sense because the Gokaigers aren't from Earth, so they don't know what Christmas is. So I think that's fine. There's been better Christmas episodes. My favorite will always be the Bokenger tribute episode, the Bokenger Christmas episode. That one is just amazing. You've seen that one, haven't you, Anthony?
I haven't gotten to that one, but they did the Christmas episode, so I need to get to it when I get to it.
Yeah, but the Bokenger Christmas episode is awesome. But yeah, this is an okay one. Like usually the Christmas episodes, sometimes they'll do something like that. Other times the Christmas episode, it might not have as much to do with the Christmas, but it's usually like a bigger part of the show. Like for example, in Mega Ranger, the Power Rangers in Space episode, where they finally defeat the Psycho Rangers. That was the Christmas episode for Mega Ranger. The only thing, but the only Christmas element that really plays a part in that episode is that there's a scene from Power Rangers in Space where Cassie's trying to elude the Psycho Rangers, and Zane shows up dressed up like a clown and like lures the Psycho Rangers away. Well, in Mega Ranger, Mega Silver is dressed up like Santa Claus, and the Neji Rangers are all like, "Hey, that's Mega Silver, get him!" So, but that's about it.
That
But
makes
yeah,
sense.
pretty good Christmas episode.
So maybe laugh to this day.
What were you saying, Riz?
I was saying that makes sense that that's the way they adopted it and how the original looked for that.
Yeah. What did you think of the episode, Rose?
I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was like. It was a good Christmas episode. I enjoyed the Luca focus here a bit because, sometimes Luca is seen as very cold and kind of selfish, but here everything she did was for other people, and I liked that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a pretty good episode. It gives some Luca focus, and I will never say no to Luca focus.
Nope.
Nope, me neither.
Oh, we know you won't.
Well, we got a bit of we also got an all yellow Gokai change in this episode, which was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So now we have to move on to another 2-part episode, although the first part is only loosely connected to the overall story. But I'm not going to go into much detail on that because I'm giving that episode to Anthony. So go ahead, Anthony, take it away. Anthony?
Will the real Anthony please stand up?
Am I still? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you now.
Sorry about that. I'm having some weird technical difficulties with. It's like my service got like it's going in and out. Let me see. Okay, for the next two-parter, the first episode of this two-parter is going to be the Confused Ninja, and this is basically a Kaku Ranger tribute episode where the return of Ninja Man appears, and so here's the crazy thing that happens. So apparently, a few years back, actually no, let's start right from the beginning. So in this one, basically Navi is going to be doing his last prediction when it comes to like the Grand Powers, and he basically tells like, hey, like we're looking for like a shrine, and I was like, shrine, and they realized, oh, the shrine that we saved in the Time Ranger episode is actually what we need to find. Is actually what we need to see where the clue is for the Kaku Ranger power. So when they get there, they find this little vase or whatever, and they break it, and next thing you know, Ninja Man is there, and he basically holds the power of the Grand Powers for them, so that they can use the Kaku Ranger power. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else happens. And I'm getting some difficulties on this. Give me 1 second. You guys hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay.
I think the best way to kind of cut this short entirely is that this episode is also this first part is kind of like every Sentai has like a clip show episode where they recap the series. That's basically what this episode is.
Yeah, this is basically just a clip. This is a clip show for this, at least for this half the two-parter. Like they basically tell Ninja Man like all their like abilities and tell him like oh this is how we Gokai change and blah blah blah. And ironically enough, something happens to where Ninja Man gets basically in prison by the three gods, which are actually just the ninja Zords slash Shogun Zords. And that's how they are in Kaku Ranger, and they sealed him because
they were called the three god generals. That includes the the Muteki Shogun, which was the Shogun Megazord in Power Rangers, the Tsubasa Maru, which was the Falcon Zord, and the Kakure Dai Shogun, which was the Ninja Megazord.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, Anthony.
No, you're good. I'm just like I said, I'm having weird difficulty with my laptop. It's just being weird on me.
Get it.
Yeah.
Well, just carry on.
1 second. Hmm.
Do you want us to pick up?
All right. Hang on 1 second. Just wait for my laptop to. If you want to, you can.
Okay, well, just to kind of finish this episode up, just to talk about it briefly, like I said, it's mostly a clip show episode. Most of it is just the Gokaigers kind of explaining to Ninja Man what's been happening since he's been locked up, because he was locked up 10 years ago. We forgot to mention this. Ninja Man is the counterpart for Ninjor in Power Rangers. They show him off some of the Gokai changes. They do these cool, unique Gokai changes. They do all blue, which kind of sucks how this is the only time they do an all blue change, since they're just doing it to show off instead of doing it for battle. But, what are you going to do? They do another cool Gokai change where they do all lions, which was pretty unique, although Ahim kind of gets the short end of the stick because everyone except her has a lion counterpart. Does Gal red, Joe does go on blue, Ahim yellow lion, although she could have done a Hurricane Yellow, since Hurricane Yellow was a lion too.
Yeah, it's true.
Dawn does Shishi Ranger, and Guy does Gosei Knight, but Ahim doesn't get a lion themed counterpart, so she has to steal one of Marvelous's, Ginga Red. Sucks for that.
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. You good, Anthony? You want to continue now?
Oh yeah, here we go. So like this is actually pretty interesting because like I know there was one Gokai change they did where they all transform into ironically Zoo Ranger, which if you guys watch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, when the Mighty Morphin team encounters Ninjor, this is basically kind of like a cool nod, but like not really because Dragon Ranger, which is the Green Ranger, did not was not present in NPR when Ninja shows up.
Yeah.
That was cool. And basically what else happens is that like Ninja Man is kind of hesitant about giving them the Grand Power is because like he's not sure if he can trust them. So basically he's gonna like stick around, until he feels that they are worthy of the power. Which if you guys want to, we can all like pretty much chip in for like the next episode, which is like hero eligibility.
Let's do it.
Well, briefly though, the thing that sucks about the first part is that after the Gokaigers kind of agree that they want to impress Ninja Man, at the very end of that episode, Tsuruhime, who is the former Ninja White, she's like watching the Gokai Galleon fly away, and she's like, "Oh, I was about to give the Gokaigers the Kaku Ranger Grand Power, but I guess I'll leave it to Ninja Man. Bye." So that's pretty funny.
Was
Yeah. By the way,
he's
Tsuruhime
like,
still looks pretty good.
I will. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. She was pretty good looking in
Ages
Kaku
like
Ranger.
fine
She's aged
wine.
pretty well.
Mhm.
Anyway, Anthony, go ahead and kind of start us off with hero eligibility.
Okay, so in the Heroes eligibility episode, we know that Isarin was enlisted basically an old colleague of hers to deal with the not Kaku Rangers, the Gokaigers, and this is also the episode where we get the five Gokaigers transform into Kaku Ranger, and along with Ninja Man alongside them. Basically in this episode, Ninja Man has been with them for over a week, basically, and he's trying to train the Pirates to be the basis of being the Super Sentai team. Basically, only Doc, Ahim, and Guy actually go through with the methods, and Joe, Luca, and Marvelous are just like, we're not doing that crap later. And which was interesting about this episode is the fact that we get to see like how much Guy and Doc really do care about Ein, because like when they were basically doing their training session, like they were both hesitant about actually laying a finger on Ein when she was about to be punched in the face, and they're kind of just like, oh, we couldn't do it. And Arm tells them like, hey, like you guys don't need to hold back on my account. And they're just like, no, we could never hurt you. That's not our thing. No, we can never hurt you. You're just too precious to us. Which actually like kind of like a crazy call back to what happens later on in the episode where the monster basically like uses he shoots red darts at them, and when he goes back to his hideout, he ends up using like this weird spell to mind control and to make people fight each other and basically like hurt each other and be complete, like jerks to one another. And Doc and Guy end up getting hit by this stuff. Marvelous almost gets hit by it, but he deflects it with his sword. So there's that. When they get back to the galleon, Guy and Doc start acting weird. They start acting like a bunch of jerks, and and to the point where I did laugh a little bit, but I was kind of like also mad with Luca because like they just told her that she need to just butt out, you moron. And she's like, "What did you just say?" She's about to, she was able to go off on them. Oh, that was funny. So they basically Joe I'm and Joe, Luca, and Marvelous find out that, oh, this is because of Zonyak, and they end up finding the hideout of the monster, and like they basically go do battle with it while Ninja Man and I'm try to like get Doc and Joe and Guy to step out of it. That guy and Joe and Doc step out of it. So, you guys want to take over? Guys, I'm kind of getting tired because like I did like the Go Christmas episode, so I'm kind of like kind of getting out of it.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, there's not much to it other than just that uh, they Ahim is able to help Guy and Dawn snap out of their little spell by untransforming and putting them in a position where they can almost punch her, and then they hesitate. Ninja Man is impressed by the bond that the Gokaiger shares, so he decides to give the Gokaigers the grand power of the Kaku Ranger. The Gokaigers use Kaku Ranger to to fight off a Zanyak attack. After which it's revealed that Ninja Man is the grand power of the Kaku Rangers. Like, it
And
allows
he had no idea.
Mm-hmm. Ninja Man, he grows to a giant size through the grand power of the Kaku Rangers. My only real complaint is that he doesn't transform into his alternate form that he had in Kaku Ranger. He also had it in Power Rangers. What was it called? Samurai Man in Kaku Ranger? I can't remember, but
I don't remember.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Samurai Man.
He should have transformed into that form here. That would have been cool. But other than that, they defeat the monster. We see Basco briefly celebrating that the Gokaigers have the last grand power. Ninja Man goes back to live with the three god generals, and the episode ends on a bit of a cliffhanger as the Gokaigers contemplate what's going to happen next now that all the grand powers have been obtained.
Mm-hmm.
I probably think as far as like staying in. Well, actually, no. The more I think about it, I think this is actually perfect for Kaku Ranger because to me, like, there's two episodes. Kaku Ranger is almost kind of two different shows. If you watch the first 24 episodes, it's very, 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 and I could probably say a bunch of varies, campy. Like at the beginning of this video, we were talking about how there was a narrator. Well, that narrator is like fourth wall breaking, and like he's throwing all these jokes around. It like there's all this campy humor whenever the Kaku Rangers are battling. Oftentimes, whenever they punch, you'll have these words blasting out of the screen, kind of like how it was during the 1960s Batman series.
Mm-hmm.
But then, in the second half, it becomes a little bit more serious, and I think both of these episodes perfectly show that because the first part, there's a lot of campy stuff. We got like there's a lot of campy humor. When Ninja Man is explaining his situation, he's explaining it through like through like a story where like he paints pictures and everything. That's pretty campy. We get when the Gokaigers are having their little flashbacks, there's frequent moments where they kind of do fourth wall jokes, like when we see a flashback of them fighting as the Kaku Rangers. Ninja Man is like, "Wait, how are you guys the Kaku Rangers?" As if to say, "Oh, so you're watching the flashbacks too." That's a fourth wall joke. So it's a very campy tone. But then the next episode after that is a little bit more serious, with like, talking about like the training of, the bond that the Gokaiger share. So the more I think about it, the more I feel that it was very clever to have two episodes for Kaku Ranger, and both of them kind of encapsulate the differences and like the changes in tone of Kaku Ranger, if that makes sense.
Well, I definitely enjoyed having Ninja Man in general around for a while because he's a great ally both in Ranger and from what I can tell in Kaku.
Plus, this episode gives an explanation on why he wasn't in the Great Legend War.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It was great to see that like explanation because people don't notice everyone who's not there, but for them to say, "Oh yeah, by the way, here's why," that adds something to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of cut out for a second, Anthony. You want to say some stuff about this episode?
Oh yeah, this was a really good episode. I enjoy the fact that we get to see like how even after being like under the control of the monster of the week, they still like Guy and Doc still managed to fight it off long enough to be like, you know what, we can't hurt her because time is precious to us. Like I said earlier in the and then I'm talking about the episode. Overall, I enjoyed it really.
Yeah, it was a great great tribute to Kaku Ranger. I enjoyed it a lot.
Mhm.
My only desire would have been to see more of White Ninja, but that's fine.
Wait, what was that?
I wish we could have seen more of the White Ninja, the leader of Kaku's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have seen more of them. Like, more of her, at least.
It also would have been nice if they brought back the actor who played Hyuga in a Gingaman, because before he was Hyuga, he was actually Sasuke, Ninja Red. So he was actually the Red Kaku Ranger. So it would have been nice to bring him back again too, just for a brief moment.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
Well, anyway, you guys have anything else?
No, I'm good, man.
No, me neither.
Okay, so
I'm
now we're
pretty
going to
good.
move on to a pretty epic episode, and I'm just going to say for all you guys back home, both of this saga lists in everyone's like top favorite Gokaiger episodes automatically, and a lot's about to happen. So for all you guys listening back home, get your popcorn ready because here we go. All right, Riz, take it away.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
episode 47. It's the first of 2 parts. This one's entitled The Limit of Betrayal. Now, at this point, we know that the Gokaizers have all but 5 Grand Powers, and Basco has the 5 that are remaining. So now it comes down to, how do they get the last 5, or how does he get the remaining that he needs? So Marvelous gives a call to Bosco, and Bosco says, "Hey, we should totally meet. Oh, guess what? By the way, I'm right here in front of you. Surprise attack. Here's some 2 Roid monsters to fight you." So the Gokaizers use Gokai and Godzujin, and they use their ground powers and all this stuff to fight the Roids and all. And while it's going on, Bosco's hatched a plan to get the ground powers. So as they defeat the Roids, the Gokai's turn and they see Bosco pointing a gun at Sally. And dude, he sought Sally the monkey and said she's no longer of use to him, so therefore bye bye Sally, because he can't bring Roids anymore. So Bosco abandons Sally and the Gokai's rush to her aid. And the question comes up of, is this a trap? Or is this a legit thing? And what do we do? And Marvelous has a big flashback to when he was part of the prior pirate team and how Bosco betrayed him there. And he says, no matter what's going on, we're going to treat Sally on the galleon. We're going to take her on board and take care of her. So they take her on board despite the protest. And in the background, you can see Bosco watching. So you know it's a trap. We know it's a trap. And, the Gokais probably also know it's a trap because they're not stupid. So, yeah. They treat Sally, and Marvelous continues to have more flashbacks about Bosco's betrayal, and him and Zoe talk about it, and Zoe says, look, end of the day, we're going to trust you. You do what you want, but we have your back. And Marvelous agrees that, yeah, we're going to not let Sally join the team, but we're going to get her fixed up and send her on her merry way. That night, Sally wakes up on the sofa and stares at the treasure chest holding the keys and has this really epic back and forth of, do I steal the keys and go back to Bosco, who sought me without my knowing that was going to happen ahead of time, or do I just forget Bosco and stay with these guys because they take care of me? And on one hand, Stella picks up the box, puts it back down, looks at it again, and then finally she's like, screw it, I have to take it to Bosco. So she sneaks off of the chest and goes to Bosco. When she gets to Bosco, she starts to slow down and hesitate again. And Marvelous and the Gokais have been following her, so they appear, and Marvelous tries to convince her, look, you don't owe him anything. You are not under any obligation to work with him or help him or do anything. He treated you like crap. You deserve way better than that. So
Mhm.
you don't have to join with him again. And all the while, they reveal, oh yeah, and by the way, that treasure chest is empty. It's a fake. The real one's still on our galleon. So
Good trick.
it works so often. Have y'all noticed that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kaiser's just always known to get tricked, and they bring out a fake, and nobody determines it's a fake until much later.
Mm-hmm.
So Sally joins the Gokaizers, and Basco says, "Well, I guess I can never trust you." And he reveals. So earlier, when he was about to shoot her, he put a necklace on her that's its arm. He said, and that necklace actually has a bomb. And so Bosco detonates the bomb while Sally's right, like, not even a foot away from Marvelous. And he's trying to kill Marvelous by killing Sally. But Sally is able to, at the last second, store the necklace in her. It's weird, alright? She has, like, a storage unit in her stomach that she can just open the stomach up, throw something in there, and just call it a day. I don't understand it. It's weird. But she does that.
Yeah.
And she ends up, I think it's implied she dies here because we don't see her again after this. And
Oh, she
Well,
said.
if she dies, she explodes.
yeah, she dies. Like, exploding implies death as well. So Marvelous is pretty banged up. He is not doing well. So, and the Gokaizers try to fight him back, but Bosco is still too good for him and easily defeats him with little to no effort. And as the Gokaizers are on the ground, struggling to get back up, he steals all the Ranger keys and heads to the galleon to begin final descent to get the treasure that he's been waiting for all this time. Because at this point, he has the Gokai keys, like he has all the Ranger keys, he has all the Grand Powers, he has Navi, and he has the galleon. He has everything he needs recipe-wise to go for the great treasure. And that's where the episode ends. So if you have no objections, we'll start the next episode.
No objections.
Moving on.
Me neither.
We're on the chase now. At this point, the Gokais have to do something. They have no keys, they have no galleon, they have no Navi, and they have a really, really banged up Marvelous. Oh, and by the way, it's going to start raining. So
Because it always rains in situations like this.
yeah, so they take up
Mhm.
residence in its search to kind of get cleaned up and determine a new plan of action. And while they're doing that, Bosco infuses the 5 remaining Grand Powers, which in this case they're Sun Vulcan, Sainsman, Flashman, Maskman, and 5-Man. Which I'm gonna make a quick comment here. We can linger about this much more at the finale when we're giving our final thoughts, like next podcast. But I'm not a fan of the fact that we somehow just skipped over all of these old legacy Sentais from before Z Ranger, and we don't really get any in detail like tribute episode where we see like the older Sentais like cameo or do something with the current Gokai's. I mean, yeah, you get like 1 or 2, but it's not like how after Z Ranger you see every single team basically at some point.
I kind of
So,
get it with Flashman. I haven't seen Flashman, but from what I know, those the Flashmen all live on a different planet, so it would be kind of difficult to do to like come up with an explanation for why they did Flashman. So I can understand why they would work around it by just having Flashman be one of the Grand Powers that Bosco gets, but the other 4, I definitely agree with you.
I mean, okay, so Flashman's on a different planet.
Mhm.
There's different ways you could have written them in anyway. There are things they could have done. They could have said like, "Here's the Flashman's grand enemy revived from the dead because screw you, that's just what happens."
Yeah,
But
I guess.
they didn't do that. They didn't do like any. Well, Flashman the one member lives on Earth for whatever reason. Like they didn't do any of that stuff, and they could have. They could have done a lot of stuff with this, but they just chose to be. They chose to override like the older stuff that I get it. Like our demographics are not there to really know a lot about like these older guys like Sun Vulcan and Sand. Like I know nothing about them, and that's in part because Gokai never really said much about them. In
Yeah.
fact, I have trouble telling apart like Five Man, Flash Man, and Masked Man. If I look at them on the screen, all I think is these are the teams that came before Zero Ranger and Jetman. That's all I know. Sun Vulcan I can identify, but the others I can't.
Well, Masked Man is pretty awesome. I've seen that one all the way through. Sun Vulcan, I've seen. Yeah, that one hasn't exactly aged well, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but it's just my little nitpick that I know. This is why I don't like the fact that they had the division this way, or at least like have Basco have gotten like one of the teams that's more current, and then have like a team up
Right.
between the two teams to kind of get the keys back or do something, make it interesting in some way. But
I
anyway,
agree.
so he infuses the Grand Powers into the keys that they belong to, and now he has a full set of Ranger keys infused with Grand Power. And Navi, while this is going on, escapes because it's Navi. So Navi is hidden away in the cockpit of the galleon, and Bosco initiates all the lockdown sequences to keep everyone on board. And he uses the Ranger key clones of the Gokaids to go look for her. And we're gonna cut back to the search here because that's important stuff going on here now. So the real thing that's really important here is the Gokaizers are kind of starting to wonder. So what exactly is this treasure we've been hunting? Marvelous, what do you really know? What is your goal here? And Marvelous says, "Look, just finding the treasure is enough of a goal for me. I don't care about how I use it later. That's a problem for later, but I just want to get there. Pirates all over the universe are going back and forth looking for it, and we're this close." So while they're having this huge discussion about that and trying to figure out their next move, Navi contacts and says, "Hey, yo, guess what? I escaped, and I'm hiding from your clones because they're here on the ship because Bosco is Bosco." So, Marvelous is too injured to go and help, but the other Gurkai say, "You know what? This arm missing too. We'll go take care of Navi and the keys and get the greatest treasure in the world. You stay put." So the Gokais get the location from Navi. They go to the galleon and they split up Zoe, Ahim, and Luca, Dawn, and Guy. They encounter the Ranger Heat clones. They defeat them. They get their Ranger keys back. And they go to confront Bosco. Bosco kicks them at the ship and start a battle on their own. And while they're battling, Marvelous has had a couple of attempts to get up because he can't just sit still while his friends are doing all the dirty work for him, for what he started. He made this entire team. And so he realizes that he had a piece of Sally's necklace in his hand, and he realized all the stuff I said before about Sally dumping the necklace in her stomach to save him. She did that to save him, and she died in the process because of it. And that's kind of struck a chord of I can't let this go without me doing something in return now. I have to muster up the strength to go. So while the other Gokais are fighting Bosco, they somehow manage to lose their keys again. Like, I know it's gonna be a bad reference. I know you're gonna all hate me, but it's just like one of our favorite Red Set and Power Rangers. You never let go of your weapons, but in this case, you never let go of your keys.
Uh, that's just
I,
like in freaking Turbo with Power Rangers Turbo when they keep dropping their keys every 5 seconds. Like, bruh, like hold on to
yeah,
your freaking keys.
I know that's a bad joke,
Stop
but I had to
losing
make
your
it.
damn keys. And it was
Yeah.
sucks that like freaking guy has his freaking his key in the freaking Gokai Galleon Buster, and apparently when he used it, the voice says special charge, not silver charge.
But it's the same thing. There's no difference in what it did.
True.
Ooh, a different color. Wow, okay. Like every Gokai that had like their own special thing that happens when they use the cannon with their key.
Yeah, I know. But it's kind of just like
Okay,
the same
so
thing just
to wrap
happened.
this up though, because we're almost at the finish line here. As all hope seems lost because they lost their keys, because Basco is Basco and they're them. Marvelous appears and the badass music we all know and love plays in the background. And Marvelous tells everyone, I might be injured, I might be damaged, but I'm going to do this one last time. Bosco and this ends today, this ends right now. And so begins like the biggest badass fight in the entirety of the thing. Bosco reveals, hey, by the way, you do realize that Akaret's from Earth. He knew where the great treasure was, but he just wanted our help to get the Ranger keys so that he can give back to Earth. And Marvel says, I don't care about Akaret. I don't care about any of this. All I care about is that I have my Gokaiger team now, and we're here to get our dream. And if even Akaret comes in front of me right now, I'll stop him too. So, Marvelous and Bosco go hand-to-hand combat. They fight. They have a huge epic fight. And at the end, Marvelous does the most ballsy of things in the world. He gets close enough to Bosco, steps on his foot, and drops his sword to hold both feet in place. And they keep fighting from that point. Just so that they can't move anymore because he's getting tired of it. And he they managed to do like a final slash on each other. They both fall down and the Gokaiger's like, oh no, what happens now? And Bosco gets up thinking he won. Marvelous gets up and says, no, you didn't win. And Bosco just falls over from just he can't hold it anymore. Yeah, Bosco tries to like suit Marvelous, but Sally's necklace protects him from being sought, and that's when he realizes Sally did the ultimate saving of Marvelous, and this is when Bosco just gives up. He like passes out, and the body disintegrates into dust, and that's it. Episode ends with the Gokais get their keys back, and they're on their way to get the greatest treasure in the universe, and that's where we end.
Just beautiful overall. I, I I have to bring these two things up because otherwise, if I don't bring them up, I'm gonna regret it. Okay.
Go for it,
So
man.
when when Doc and Luca both all fight their Ranger counterparts. Um, Doc notices that, hey, wait, I don't be wiping my pants like I just like wash my hands or something. And Luca goes, yeah,
You
you
do.
do. You do it
Yeah, that
all
was
the
pretty great.
time. I was like, it's just so funny
Finally
because
addressed a
he
weird
does it.
pose.
It's a weird
Yeah.
pose. Like I find the way I said this earlier. I'm glad someone said it because I find like, bruh, how has no one said anything about this pose?
Look,
I mean,
man,
honestly. And then
it
and then the yeah.
it just happened like that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, he is a very unorthodox fighter, so I guess it kind of works.
yeah.
And then
What
the
was your
second
second thing?
part is the fact that like Joe had kind of like a whimper cry when he found Marvelous was alive. He was like, it was so funny but so dope at the same time.
Okay, that's pretty funny. I'll give you that, Anthony.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
I did posted it on Instagram.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's gather final thoughts on these episodes real quick. What do y'all think?
You know,
10 out of
I'm
10.
gonna say this, like, with that battle between Marvelous and Basco, like, I'm gonna say that that's probably the best final rivalry battle that I've seen in Sentai, and there's been a couple. Uh, Takeru and Juzo Fuwa in Shinkenger, which is the equivalent of Jaden and Decker in Samurai. That was pretty good. Although the way that it ends is pretty bad. I definitely liked Guy and Gray and Jetman. That was a pretty good ending. But I think the reason why I would call this the best hands down is because, like, well, first of all, during those battles, there's other things going on. So not this one, the other ones that I was talking about. There's other things that are going on, so they constantly have to cut away from it. This one, that's the only thing that's happening. That's the only battle. You don't have to cut away to see the other Gokaigers doing something. They just let that battle play out. They have the epic music playing in the background to really, like, it feels like the epic final battle to, like, some, like, action movie where, like, there's this real triumphant sound to it, but then when it looks like Bosco's gonna win, there's, like, this hint of, like, oh my, they add like music that sounds like there's gonna be trouble. And I think the one thing that makes it is is uh when the two attack each other for that final attack, and they slash at each other. Like, this is the thing that made it, like, I honestly couldn't believe what I was watching and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. When I was watching it for the first time, like, they both slash at each other. There's this huge explosion. Bosco's sword goes flying out, and first we hear Joe, like, scream, like, "No, Marvelous!" And then everything goes silent. Like, they cut out all the sound entirely, and we show everyone, like, screaming, and Bosco and Marvelous go flying in opposite directions in slow motion. Like, I feel like I'm watching something out of, like, an epic movie with how that scene was shot and how it was
Yeah.
handled. So
Yeah.
that whole action scene, like I said, Jetman may be my favorite season, and I love Guy and Gray's final battle, but the way that this battle was handled, like, just the music, the way that the action was done, and just how they handled, like, that final moment, like, there is no other perfect way you could have done that. Like, that is probably the most perfect scene I've seen in a Sentai battle. Like, the most perfect battle, and I have no problem saying that.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
And that's about it for me.
Anthony.
like he said, dude, this was just like an amazing spectacle. That spectacle, just the overall, like, fight itself is just amazing. Like, the explosions, swords flashing, the dual wielding, the dual guns shooting. It was just, I have nothing bad to say about this at all. Like, it was just that good. And
Yeah.
then, like, the fact that Marvelous was like, you know what, this guy used that super speech attack a lot. I need to put a stop to that. So I just stabbed myself in the foot with his foot, and it's like, ow, it's painful, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it overall. And like I said, the fact that, like, everybody was like so happy that Marvelous survived was just beautiful to me.
And the only other thing I'll say
And
is that I love how they handle Bosco's death, because, like I said, like he gets up, and I think it's clear that even he is aware that he's probably going to die, because he, like, mourns that he should have killed Marvelous when he has a chance, and then when it's revealed that that thing on Sally's necklace is what saved Marvelous. Like the look on Bosco's face and like the final words, like that's the best way for Bosco to look out. Like he's just looking down. He just has like this smile, but it's still like a look of a defeat on his face, and he's all like, "Wow, this is really how I go out, huh?" And then he just chuckles and then dies. Like that's a perfect way for Bosco to go out. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
So,
Anthony. I didn't mean to cut you off.
do you have anything else to say, Anthony?
No. No. I said my piece. You're good.
Okay. So I'm gonna give my little piece real quick. Kind of compliment what y'all already said. So the reason this fight has a lot of meaning to me, and it's my favorite, like one of my favorite battle fights in and outside of Sentai. It's not just a fight. The fight's great. The fight's fantastic, but it's the character development. It's the character growth we saw through the first 48 episodes of the series. Marvelous, when you look at him on the external level, like just look at him surface level, he's a gruff, arrogant, selfish pirate who is only here to get his treasure. He doesn't give the impression that he cares. But as you watch these episodes of Gokaiger, you start to see that they care, and they care a lot. Joe even says at one point, "How is it that somebody who's been betrayed as badly as you have can still trust a former Zanyak, can trust the lady thief?" And he goes on and lists everyone and says, "How can you trust all of us to have assembled this great team of people around you?" And that's because Marvelous, while he's this gruffy, eh, like aggressive, selfish guy on the outside, he's really not. He's one of the most compassionate people in the world. He cares so deeply, but he wants to maintain that he's a pirate because he wants to show that he's different than what came before him and what's probably going to come after him. But he really does care. He really wants to do the right thing. He's not just some scoundrel. He has a heart, and he has shown time and time again what he's willing to do for a planet that's not his, to like by birthright. He just kind of stumbled upon it looking for his treasure, but he adopted it as like, I'm going to protect this planet as long as I'm here. So seeing all that development, but then seeing all the betrayals of like him with Akared and Basco and how all that played out, and all the feelings that he must have been feeling throughout of like losing the people closest to him in his life and having to fight them now, and all that culminate in one last fight, that's what made this amazing to me.
Indeed.
Yeah. That's a perfect summary.
So, thoughts on what I've seen so far up until now? 10 out of 10 would watch again. Great stuff. I love Gokaiger. So, yeah, y'all can give your final thoughts so we can call it good. Huh?
Yeah, this was pretty got a lot happen. A lot happened, and I'm definitely looking forward to the big end in the next review. Spoiler alert, but that's kind of where we're going to be heading next review.
But it's okay. We have the movie right after. So,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
timeskip 10 years in the future to see what they're doing 10 years later. And I know these guys haven't seen it yet, but hold on to your hats. It's going to be a real fun ride.
Absolutely. What about
Yeah.
you, Anthony?
Like I said, overall, these episodes were actually really good. We got some really good development for Ahim. We got some good development for Marvelous. And even freaking Doc has some good episodes too. So
Yeah.
If I had to pick, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of the Domara story arc, but I mean, that Basco story arc, like, I'm just gonna say this. A couple of days ago, I think this was in celebration of the Gokaiger movie. These two guys, they review a lot of things. I think it was like, it's not Toku Topics because that guy mostly focuses on like Power Ranger toys and all that, but it's a different one. I can't remember. They were doing like a top 10 Gokaigers episodes review, and their number one episode was the one we just finished, the Faded Showdown. And yeah, I mean, I know that we haven't seen the finale yet, but I think that's actually probably the best episode.
We'll get there next time.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that about wraps this up. Next time, we'll be wrapping up Gokaiger, at least the series, with episodes 49 through 51, which is like the in-game story arc. After which, we'll be giving our overall thoughts on the series as a whole. We hope you guys will join us there. And then after that, as we said, the week after that, we'll be taking a look at the Gokaiger 10 Years Later movie, after which we'll then take a break for Christmas and New Year's before we get together for our next big Sentai review, Shinkenger. But we'll give more details about that when we get to that point. We hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you're watching us on YouTube, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed. Leave any comments down below with the content you might like us to take a look at. If you're checking us out on iTunes, we definitely thank you for that. Please be sure to check out our website, animesecrets.org. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and all those social media pages. And that's about it. We definitely appreciate you guys watching this. Remember that we do this podcast for you, and we absolutely love that you enjoy us. So we thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time for the grand finale for Gokaiger, at least for the series, that is, next week. So until then, see you guys later.